Hey everybody, it's Videobob, and I'm back here with another one of my super honest reviews. And this one is about the iPhone 10. You know, there's about 1 million videos out there on the iPhone 10. A lot of them are skewed because you have guys that are Android users and they're bitching about the iPhone 10. You got people that are Apple users and they're talking about how great it is or how much they hate it or whatever. A lot of these people aren't iPhone users necessarily, which, you know, you can tell right away when you hear them talk. There's some things that some of these guys do in their videos, you know, and I'd like to say to these people who are watching, you don't need an intro. Fuck your intro. No one cares about your intro. I don't need your intro music. I don't care about your logo. I don't care who you are. Get to the point. I don't put those in my videos. This is a new wave of broadcasting. We can say and do whatever we want. I don't need flashy graphics to make it more important. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Let's talk about the iPhone 10. By the way, it's not the iPhone X, you fucking morons. It's the iPhone 10. It's a Roman numeral. It's the 10th year anniversary. Which, listen, Apple will never ever admit they're wrong. They're much like the government when it comes to that. This should have been the 9, but whatever. I don't know if there's going to be a 9. So here's the deal. So here it is. I got the 256 gigabyte, I guess this is the gray one or whatever they want to call it. You know, it was what, 1,200 and something bucks. Now, a couple of things I'm really pissed about. I pre-ordered it on the day that you were allowed to order it. And then it took forever to get it. It took, you know, and I was pissed that people went right down to the store and bought one, the people that waited in line to get one. When you pre-order something, you should get priority. You should be first in line. So long before anybody gets one in the store, they should not be available in the stores until everyone who pre-ordered it got theirs first. Okay? I gotta turn this off to make sure this TV doesn't come on. That's just the first thing, okay? But that's just me bitching. All right, let's talk about the phone itself. Now, I've watched about 100 iPhone 10 videos about the tips and the tricks on how to use it, the differences between it and the Android, the pros, the cons, all these different things. Now, I was debating whether or not to keep this thing or whether or not to just keep my iPhone 7 Plus. Really, my iPhone 7 Plus was fine. There's nothing wrong with it. 128 gigs. And it wasn't even full. And, no, wait, it was a 256, I think. Did they come in at 256? I don't even remember. All I know is I never even used all the storage because with iCloud and proper backups, you just don't need that much. It's, you know, I've got all the music I need. Besides which, they haven't made any good music since like 95. So, you know, from 75 to 95, everything else was pretty much shit. So, anyway, let's talk about the main features about the iPhone 10. And, you know, I don't want to make you wait to the end. I'm going to tell you right now. My recommendation would be, let me think about this for a minute. My recommendation is this. If you already have the iPhone 7 or 7 Plus, just hold on to it for a while. Because there's almost, the only difference between it and the 8 is the wireless charging capability. And we're going to talk about that next. I decided to get it because I'm just one of those damn sheep who has to have the latest thing. I like to have the latest gadget, and I like to stay on top of the trends. But here's one of the things that I know. Once Apple makes a decision to move forward with something, they don't look back. They're not going to put the headphone jack back into the smartphone. They're not going to do it. They're like, look, we've done it. We've got to stick with it. We're going to roll with that, right? And they're going to push their Bluetooth stuff, which they have improved. The AirPods and the other Bluetooth connectivity, instantaneous, okay? Within a few seconds. So they've really improved that. And so I have to admit that even though that doesn't have the headphone jack, I've found a lot of solutions for not using it. Excuse me. I'm not one of these fake guys that edits out my cough. So anyway, you know, like for instance in my car, let's say you're in an older car, it only has an aux jack and doesn't have Bluetooth. for like $8 at the checkout at Walmart. You can buy a little Bluetooth adapter that runs for like 2 or 3 days on a charge that plugs in. Now, again, this is one thing you have to plug in or whatever, but there are solutions to things that basically the bottom line is Apple is going to force you to stay with the trends. They're going to force you to get up to speed on things. And in a way, this is good because by doing this, this forces the accessory manufacturers, for instance, the car manufacturers, to integrate their other technology. I have a 2014 Cadillac CTS-V. This is a $75,000 car. I'm not bragging. I'm just talking about the fact that this goddamn thing has Bluetooth. But the way it's set up is you can either have Bluetooth phone or Bluetooth audio. You can't have both. So, if you want to have Bluetooth phone, you got to plug your phone in with an aux jack. Until they came out with their new Q system. Now, on the new Cadillacs, if I were to go buy a 2017 Cadillac, not only does the Q system now have both streams of Bluetooth for both audio and phone, but they actually put in a wireless charging pad within the dash. And the little radio pops up, you put the phone in there and it charges, and then it actually seals your phone inside the back of the radio, so you can't even touch the goddamn thing, right? But you interact with it through the car. In a way, this is great, because by doing these type of innovations, they are forcing the world to catch up and to move forward. Okay? So that's a good thing. Let's talk about this wireless charging bullshit. Wireless charging does not charge, even with the fast charger, does not charge as fast as plugging it in. What I learned about the fast chargers is the reason Apple doesn't sell a wireless fast charger is because they know that they screwed up. You can buy a wireless fast charger that's like 15 watts. Unfortunately, the iPhones 8 and 10 do not wirelessly fast charge more than 7 watts. I just recently found this out. I had been killing myself to go out and find the most badass wireless charger for this phone. And here's the thing. Generally, you buy the wireless charger doesn't come necessarily with the power supply. So you have to get a power supply that will keep up with the power output. So we all know that Apple's totally screwing us over by making us buy the 29 watt power supply, USB-C power supply that costs $49, and then have to buy the USB to Lightning cable, which is another $30. With tax and everything, you're spending like $85, $90. Now, let me show you this cable. You can buy an aftermarket cable. I bought this cable, I think it was $8 on eBay, right? USB-C to Lightning. And it's red. It's red. So this is like a 3-foot cable. And I think it was $8 on eBay. You can find them, right? And I've been using this. Now, I also, let me show you the power supply I bought. This one is by PowerAd. It was $17. And it is, let's see, QC3 output, 5 volt, 3 amp, 9 volt, 2 amp. So, the USB 2, 5 volt, 5 amp output. All right, so this is a fast charger. Works pretty good. But the bottom line is you can't really fast charge the iPhone unless you plug it in to one of these deals. And the reason they had to use the USB-C, which should have been called like USB 3 or something, I don't know, but I don't know. Maybe there's already a 3. But the reason they use that is because regular USB, micro USB, mini USB, USB, Lightning are only designed to carry up to 2.5 amps of power. The USB-C, for whatever reason, is designed to carry more power. That's why you have to have a different cable, which is why they, I think it's kind of cool what they did with their laptops. See, a lot of people were complaining about using the MagSafe adapter, which I have a MacBook Pro, and I was like, oh, okay, that kind of sucks. The reason they did that is we are moving closer to a universal system. Wouldn't it be great if virtually everything you owned used the same power jack? Imagine your shaver that you use, your power bank, your phone, your laptop, your iPad, your tablet, your toenail clipper, your toothbrush, whatever it is that you have, all use the same power cord, which would be a USB-C because it has a higher output. This would be a great world to live in, where there's no more proprietary plugs, and USB-C becomes the plug. And look, we've had the regular USB for how long? I remember when it was introduced, and this was the universal serial bus. Wouldn't it be great if everything ran on that? This high-speed, high-power system, and that's what we're moving towards. So when you explain it like that, it seems to be a little bit more palatable for the people out there who are complaining about these new Apple innovations. You know, one of the reasons I decided to get the 10, even though I didn't like this system, was because this is what I know. This is going to be the future, folks. The Face ID, the swiping up, this is what all the phones are going to be. Now, sure, they're going to hang on to the lower-end iPhones for a little while. They're going to keep the button around for the, you know, they're coming out with a new SE2, you know, which is going to be the really cheap iPhone that they sell at Walmart to the ghetto people who can't afford the expensive phones, so that they could feel like they're part of the real world and still have an iPhone. But what's going to happen is, I would imagine that after the 8, we're not going to see any more thumbprint buttons. Now, what Apple could have and should have done is they should have slowly integrated people into the new technology, because they had all these dedicated Apple users for 10 years now who have been using the home button. But after having my iPhone 10 now for a couple of weeks or whatever, I have gotten used to the swipey. And the way it's set up is you tap to wake, doot, doot, hello, anyone home? And then it looks at you, it unlocks, and then you swipe up. So what happens is you grow new muscle memory. So what used to be tap, hold your thumb, is now tap, tap, swipe up. And now it's like, and it's just it's instantaneous. And it generally always works. When I'm wearing my Prada prescription glasses, I shouldn't have said the name brand. That was pretentious of me. When I wear my prescription sunglasses, they're real big, and I sometimes have to lift them up because it doesn't work. But I mean, what the fuck do you expect? It's supposed to be a face recognition system. If it worked while wearing my sunglasses, quite frankly, I would be disappointed in it. I mean, what do you expect, folks? Do you want high security or not? Now, with the Androids, they had both the facial and retinal scanner system and the thumbprint. Why? Because they hadn't perfected the facial scanner, and they knew that it wasn't going to work that well. So as a backup, they put the thumbprint. What they're really saying is, we really don't have our shit together, folks. So when this thing doesn't work, you can put your finger on the back of it, and it'll still fingerprint your scanner. And if that doesn't work, then you have a third backup, and you can do the code. But, you know, Apple likes to just throw you into the deep end, into the cold water, and go, here we go! You're doing it, you know? And people have always criticized Apple for coming out late with their stuff and say, they're not innovators. It's not that they're not innovators. They just don't put shit out on the market until they make sure it works. Like, sure, OLED screens have been around for a while, but they suck. They weren't that bright, right? They are better detail, but they're also very fragile, and they break real easy. Almost every time I would meet somebody with an Android phone, their phone was cracked. It looked like a shattered windshield. Every single Android phone user I ever met had a cracked screen. You know, it was cracked because they had a plastic phone with an OLED screen and a thin, you know, that's, what do you expect when you buy a $200 phone, you know? So, not to say that these aren't breaking because they're goddamn glass, but the phone's made of glass. People are like, I dropped my iPhone and it broke. It's glass, asshole. Go take a glass out of your cupboard and drop it on the concrete and see if it doesn't break. It's fucking glass. Which, I gotta say, I think it's a bad idea. It should not be made of glass. They have the ability to wireless charge through metal. But Apple, they're like, look, take care of your phone. Don't drop it. You know, I don't put this in my pocket. I don't sit on it. And I'm just real careful with it. But you know, I'm real careful with a lot of things. I have a lot of valuable stuff. I'm just careful with it. It's like having a baby. Don't drop the baby. Don't sit on the baby. Be careful with the baby. It's a baby. This is a baby. This is a supercomputer made of glass. More powerful than anything we sent to space. You understand? This has more computer power than most. This has probably the same amount of computer power as your average laptop that your kid goes to school with. This thing has more computer power and space in it than any of the computers when I was a certified A+ certified computer technician working for Gateway. We didn't have anything as powerful as this phone. This thing has about the most powerful camera of any phone that's manufactured right now. You don't even need to own it. I own a DSLR camera, okay? It's a Canon 80D, right? I don't use it anymore. I'm not dragging that thing around. This thing takes as good or better pictures. This is a 4K television production studio that I can shoot for hours in 4K resolution, edit on the phone, and upload. All right, so enough raving about the phone. And I know there's a lot of Android phones that are pretty good too. But I'm just saying, you got to have more respect for this thing. And I think older people break their phones less than younger people. Younger people take for granted that they've always had this technology laying around. I'm a guy that, my name is Videobob. I was a professional cameraman. First time I saw a high-definition camera was for the Olympics of, 2000 and... was it 2001 or 2? When was this? But the first high-definition cameras were 50, 60 grand for a Panasonic DVC Pro 50, Anyway, point is, Apple doesn't put their stuff out until they really test it. You never heard about an Apple phone catching on fire. Think about it. Why is there 2 batteries in here? Because putting in one battery, I guess, just didn't fit. They figured out that by putting in 2 separate cells, it seemed to help with the power distribution. You could fit a little bit more power in there. I'm not a clean freak, but I can't stand fingerprints on things. I can't stand it. So, let's talk about cases real quick. What's the best case for your iPhone? The question is, are you going to utilize wireless charging? If you're going to utilize the wireless charging, your choice of cases is much less. I wanted to use the wireless charging, so I searched it for all these different cases. And I got to be honest. I think that for me, the Apple leather case just seemed to be the best. This thing is $50. Now you can get the TPU plastic one for much, much less. But the quality of this is really good. It's real leather, and it fits perfectly. Now, this is what I've been using. And I bought a bunch of cases. Look, here's a case that I bought for $2 on eBay. $2. Okay, it's a TPU and plastic case. Has a ring on the back that you can hold like this. Right? Won't drop it. It also serves as a stand, and this is also a magnetic ring. Or it's not magnetic, but if you have I had one over here, one of those little magnetic mounts, it sticks to it. $2. $2. So you see all these stupid cases being advertised all over the place for $50, like this one. Bullshit. Just go on eBay and look, and you'll find them for little. Not only was this thing $2 with free shipping, it came with a free tempered glass screen cover. $2. Shows you how much money they're making off these. Now this is like fine handcrafted leather, but I liked it. I like the feel of it. What I don't like about the TPU was I don't like the sticky, grimy silicone feeling. There's nothing like real leather, folks. Now, let's talk about this wireless charging bunch of bananas. As I mentioned earlier, sorry, I got a frog in my throat. It's pissing me off. You can only get up to 7 watts of charging power on the iPhone 10 and 8. I keep touching the phone and it keeps turning itself on. Keep that in mind. So, don't kill yourself over trying to get the most powerful charger. You want to get the full 7 watts that you can. But it's going to take you a third, if not twice as long to wirelessly charge as if you plug it in. If you're going to plug it in, you want to utilize the fast charging capability. So you're going to want to find a cigarette lighter for your car or a plug for your house that's putting out at least the 15 watts. And in order to do that, you're going to have to use a USB-C to Lightning adapter. If you're going to use a wireless charger or some other kind of cradle that has a dock, that's probably going to have a micro USB plug on it. And then you're going to have to use a USB-C to micro USB adapter cord. Let me show you a charger I just picked up. This is the iAudi iTap wireless. The reason I chose this one is it came with a couple of different mounts. This is a magnetic base charger. And what it does is it comes with a little plate like this that you are to stick to the back of your iPhone like that in a particular little area, or attach it to your case. I didn't want to actually, there was no point in actually using the adhesive, so I just used a little Scotch tape and put it in there because the phone holds it in place. Let me go ahead and put my phone in my case. Bang. Look how the case exactly covers the camera so that it's completely flush. And it's nice leather. It's got that grain. Love real leather. Okay. Anyway, by putting the plate in there, it now sticks to this thing. Now, I unplugged it when I unplugged my little thing here. Let me see if I can... I've got another plug right here. Okay. So, here's why I chose this charger. There's a little cooling fan in the back. It does make noise. It is a little annoying. You hear a little noise. But if it's in your car, you're not going to hear it. And if you're at home, just plug the thing in. Or use a flat mat. You don't need it to be magnetic. But check this out. Okay? You can hear the little fan. Now I realized immediately why that's necessary. And look how well it sticks. Let's see if it'll... There it is. So it will pop off of there. But it's got a little green light to let you know that it's charging, which is stupid because if you put the phone on top of it, you can't see the light. Anyway, it does work. And look, if you don't put it on there in the right spot, it doesn't kick in. There it is. It's basically right there where it's flush, right? Then it comes with a sticky adhesive. You stick that in your car. I'm going to mount this on the dash of my Cadillac over to the right near the driver's side pillar. There's a little area right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to snake the wire down below the dash. Or actually, what I'm going to do is I've ordered a USB, micro USB hardwire kit. So on the other end, it just has a red and a black wire. It doesn't have a USB. So on one side, it has the USB-C. On the other side, it has the red and black wire, and it has the little rectifier in there that converts 12 volt down to 5 volts. And I'm going to hardwire that into my car. And I might make a video about that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the pillar cover. I'm going to snake the wire up into the headliner, down there. It's going to poke out of the pillar, and then there'll only be about that much of it sticking out. And then right there in the corner where the pillar is, I'm going to mount this, and my phone will stick right there magnetically. And then I'm going to wire that into the dome light power probably, or some other constant power that's on whenever the car is on. And that way, there won't be any cables running around, and it'll be a clean install. And that's what's great about the wireless charging. Because if I wanted to put my phone there without the wireless magnetic charger, I'd have to reach over the steering wheel, plug it in, you know, and you're going to have the cables. So this is moving towards a cableless world. The downside is it does not charge nearly as fast as plugging it in. But at least you get a little something. And if you're on a long road trip, it'll be perfect. All right, let's talk about that fan again. As far as I know, this is the only one I found that has a fan. I found out why you need the fan. I bought another little wireless charging mat. This thing was probably $5 or $10. Came from like China or whatever. It's just a round puck. And I put it by my bedside. And I plugged it into a regular 1.5 amp little old charger. Just a regular little charger, right? And I figured, you know, I'm going to sleep for 8 hours. It'll charge in 8 hours no matter what. And I never let my battery get completely dead anyway. So I don't need a fast charger. I'll let it slow charge. That son of a bitch gets hot. And I mean hot. You could put your cup of coffee on it and warm your coffee. It gets hot as shit. And I've seen this mentioned many times with other people, talking about wireless chargers. Wireless induction pretty much, I think, works the same way as these induction cooktops. You know, that it's converting this magnetic energy into, a charging. So what I found is the cheaper mats get hot as shit, and you're just cooking the phone. I picked it up this morning. I was like, what the fuck? It's hot. Like hot. Like it's been laying on a dash. You know, I don't mean like slightly warm. It was hot. Okay? Like a Pop-Tart out of the toaster. I was like, what in the hell? And I picked up that puck and I unplugged it. I'm like, fuck the thing. I threw it in the trash. I'm like, there's no way that that's the way this is supposed to be. I plug the phone in all the time. I've been plugging my phone in for 10 years. It doesn't get hot. Might get a little warm if it's really dead. So this is one of the problems with the wireless chargers. So you want to avoid the really cheap wireless chargers. This, where'd this one go? I set it down. This thing was pretty expensive. It was like $60. It's a lot of money for a charger. And it didn't even come with the power supply. It just came with the one cord. But it says fast charge on it. So keep in mind that Apple wirelessly does not really fast charge the same way the Androids does. It only charges at like 7 watts. So even if you have a 15 watt fast charger, it's only going to get 7 watts out of it. That's the important thing you got to remember. And thanks for hanging out with me for this whole video. I know it's long, but this is a huge commitment buying one of these phones. You're talking about spending, you know, by the time you get the phone and a case and a charger and blah, 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 you could have $1,500 on this thing. That's a lot of money. You know, it was like $1,200 and whatever dollars I paid for the phone itself, $50 for the case, $60 for the charger. Then the other money I spent on the power supply. So you, really, when you think about it, where's my I got a calculator right here. You know, it was I think it was like $1,280 for the phone or something like that, and then $60 for that charger, and I paid $20 for that, and $50 for the case, and then yeah, I mean we're approaching $1,500. Anyway, yeah, I do feel kind of like an asshole. I'm like, fuck, that's a lot of money. But the thing is the phones are pretty badass. I mean, the technology in this thing, I think we take for granted what we're getting. So anyway, if you're going to be using the wireless charging, you're very limited on your case. You're going to have a case that is not metal, that has an open back, doesn't have the little keyring thing, doesn't have a stand, doesn't have a battery, doesn't have a magnetic mount. That's another thing. On all of my other cases, I used to put that little plate and mount it on a Scotch magnetic holder. Can't do that if you're going to have wireless charging. All that's got to go away. So this was the closest solution to using this system. This is going to be the new thing, I think, is what's going to happen. So Scotch with Scotch, or however you say it, Scotch and all the other companies that make the magnetic holders are going to have to redefine their whole system, and this is going to be the new norm. And I think that eventually this is just going to be built into all the phones. They're just going to put, you know, metal or magnets in all corners so that they can be mounted as a 4-corner system with the wireless charging in the center. That's probably going to be the future of pretty much all phones. And this system here will be the new standard because there's no other way to do it. So what's under here, by the way, I peeled it up, is 4 neodymium little earth magnets. There's one there, one there, one there, one there. And they just stick to the corners. So by putting that inside the case, thing sticks. Simple as that. If you're not going to use wireless charging, then the sky's the limit. You can get any kind of case you want. Like, this case is cool as shit. I would totally be down with this. Right? Look at that. I was like, it was $2. It was worth $2 just to check it out. And I figured, well, maybe there'll be a situation where I might want to change the case and use this particular case just so I could have this little ring thing or something. Let's say I was going to go on a ride or something. You know, like I know I'm going to be at an amusement park and I might want to use my phone or something. I can put this ring on and I won't drop the phone. I think that was pretty cool. I don't know. It was $2. It was $1.87. For right now, I'm sticking with the $50 leather case. I think that the button is going to disappear on all the future iPhones. They're probably going to keep it around for the, you know, just like they've kept the SE phone, which is really an iPhone 5. They've kept it around. They'll keep that around for the cheapskates. But I think moving forward, probably next year you're going to see the iPhone 10 Plus or the 11 or whatever they want to call it. But they're definitely going to come out with a Plus. Too many people complain that they were used to the bigger phone. I kind of wish I had just kept my 7 Plus and skipped this and waited till next year. But that's so hard to do. You want the newest thing. So my recommendation is, if you're happy with your 7 Plus, just keep it. But you're eventually going to have to transition over to this new system. That's going to be the new thing from now on, because the new iPads coming out are going to be the same exact system. Without the button, the edge-to-edge thing. I gotta admit, the notch is annoying as shit. I don't like the notch. Not really into the notch. A lot of the really cool features that are on this phone are, quite frankly, going to already be on your 7 and your 8 with the iOS 11. Things like the, let's see, for instance, if you were on the conversion here, let me pull up like my email. So like, you know, these are my email. You can do a triple click. Watch this. And it inverts, right? And you can go sideways if you want. That's something that's just part of the new iOS. Now, all you have to, there's a million videos out there. If you want to know how to do that, I can show it to you. Well, you know, I'm not going to show it to you. This video is already 30 minutes long. Just search for iOS 11 tips and tricks or whatever. You'll find plenty of them out there. So, I don't know. To sum up, what's my recommendation? After having this thing for a couple of weeks, I've gotten used to it. I'm not happy losing the thumbprint button. The screen is not as big as the 7. It's longer, but it's not as wide. So when you're watching videos, it's smaller. The screen is not as bright as an LCD screen. It's a little bit dimmer, but it's a much higher contrast, much better resolution. But it's nothing I'm going to notice. You know what I mean? I'm old. I can wear glasses anyway. And is it worth the money? No. I don't think it is. But really, when you think about it, I paid $1,000 for my iPhone 7 Plus anyway. So I'm only spending a couple $100 more. The difference is they're just not giving you cheaper options. I'm the guy who always goes for the top of the line. Like I told you, I bought a Cadillac CTS-V. I bought the top of the line Cadillac. You know, I don't go buy the base model with the V6 and the small wheels. Give me the best. I want the sunroof. I want the Recaro seats. I want everything. Give me everything. And then I'm the same way with this phone. So I was like, yeah, if they could have given me more, I would have bought more. You know what I mean? And they're realizing that. They're giving people what they want. People want everything. So, I don't know. After using the thing for a little while, I mean, I'm used to it now. But in retrospect, I would have been just as happy keeping my 7 Plus. But I know that moving forward, this is going to be what people are using in the future. It's going to be this technology. You're going to see, I think you're going to see this facial recognition stuff happening on a global scale. Maybe with ATMs, maybe with payment centers. You know, maybe when you walk up to use your credit card in the future, you're standing at Walmart and you go to pay, there's a facial scanner on that thing. I think we're going to see that happen. And I also got to say, I've only recently been using Apple Pay. All you have to do is double click, and then it verifies your face. And then now I have my credit cards. I have not been using Apple Pay up until this phone. But I'm using it now, and it's great. And Apple Wallet also, look at that. There's the there's my insurance policy for my car. It's pretty cool. I gotta say, I've been using it a lot lately because it's so easy. All you have to do is double click and look at your phone. So Apple Pay, Face ID, bang. It was, see how fast that was? I mean, it works. You know, watch the lock, if you can see it. If you see the, it's instantaneous. You see the little lock, or I double tap swipe. That's all it. That's all you got to do. It's not that hard, folks. Look here. Let me put on my glasses. Okay, can you see the lock? Okay. Oh, wait, I didn't tap it. Actually, I tipped it. I tapped it so fast I accidentally tapped my garage door opener. So let me just do it with just the power button. Unlock. But see, you have to swipe up. So, which is a two-step process. But the reason they did that was because if it were just laying on the table, and you activate it and you looked at it, they don't want it to just come on and have access. They want that extra, because here's one of the other features that the phone does maybe you don't know about. It's got I forgot what the feature's called. It's called like attention awareness. If somehow it knows if you're looking at it. Like it's sending out sort of an infrared scan, and it can tell from like the reflection of your eyes. It can tell whether or not you're looking at it or not. And the reason that's important is this is what it does. If it's just laying on the table and you get a phone call, it rings loudly at full volume. Ring! As soon as you look at it, it reduces the volume because it knows that you know it's ringing. And then it goes, ring. That's cool. That's where, I'm using my computer screens as light. That's where the facial recognition technology really, where you start to see the benefits of it versus the fingerprint. Because the fingerprint, you have to physically touch the thing. With this new facial recognition and awareness technology, it's aware whether or not you know what's going on. So when it rings or you get a text message or there's an alert, it can see that you're looking at it. And it adjusts its behavior based upon your attention awareness. So I thought that's pretty cool. Because I was like, why did the volume suddenly reduce as soon as I looked at it? I was like, I was trying to figure out, why is it not ringing at full volume? I've got it turned all the way up. That's pretty cool technology. And I think that they're going to expand upon that with different security features so that, like, for instance, you'll be able to adjust, for instance, getting a message. Here's some examples of the security. When you get a message, it'll put up a banner that you have a message, but it won't read the message for you. Because there might be a message pop up that says, some sensitive information that you don't want other people to see. If it was just laying on the table and you're asleep and people are text messaging you, they would be able to read what the message is because it pops up as a banner. But it doesn't do that anymore. It just pops up and says, you have a message. And then you have to, unlock it to read the message. By the way, it does. I don't think it works with your eyes closed. If your eyes are closed, it doesn't unlock. Or did it? Or did it see my face? Let me see. Let's see if it works with your eyes closed. Well, how can I do that if my eyes are closed? Wait. Hold on, I gotta. Let me do something real quick. I'm gonna close all my apps. Let's see if it works with my eyes closed. So if I was asleep and somebody picked up my phone, didn't unlock. So you have to be looking at it. So if you have real squinty eyes like me, if you're Asian, make sure to open. People think I'm Asian all the time. I'm not. I'm British. I'm Scottish origin. But because I have like a Fu Manchu mustache and I have squinty eyes, people ask me all the time if I'm Asian. I'm not Asian. But so if your eyes are closed, I'm going to kind of squint a little bit. Oh, it unlocked. Maybe it could see my eyes. All right, let me try it again. Keep my eyes closed. All right, let's see. Huh. So it did open. So maybe people can unlock your phone by pointing it at your face. But then again, the same argument is that if you were asleep and somebody took your phone and just held your fingerprint up to it, it would do the same thing. So maybe that argument, put your phone away if you don't want people to get to it. But I'm trying to think if there's anything I missed. One of the things people were complaining about with no home button is, like, for instance, how do you take a picture of a screenshot? Normally you would hold the power button and the home button at the same time. Well, now you simply squeeze the power button and the volume button together. Takes a picture. Which is annoying because there's so many times I'm walking around holding the phone and you grab it or whatever and you're like, oh, I'm taking pictures, taking pictures, taking pictures, taking pictures. It's pretty fucking annoying. I wish they'd set that where you have to hold it for a little bit longer than as instantaneously as it is. Here's another thing. I'm going to open up some apps. Open that, open that, open that. I'm just going to open a bunch of apps, okay? Open up a whole bunch of apps. Okay. Now, on the old phone with the home button, you would double click your home button and it would bring up all your apps and you could scroll through them and you could swipe up to close them. You can still do that, but this is what you got to do. You got to slide up, hold, and then there's all your apps. Now, you can't just swipe up to get rid of them. You got to now hold it again. Now you get the little X, and now you can close them out. It's just one little extra step, but you could still do it, and it's just one of those things that you get used to. Another thing that's different, let's say you're way over here on a page. Now on the old phone, you would hit your home button, and it would zoom back to the first page. Now you just swipe up, it does the same thing. So you would just train yourself that swipe up is the same as pressing the home button. But how do you force restart? There's a simple procedure for that. You're going to unlock it. You're going to go volume up, volume down, hold the power button. You're going to hold it until you see the Apple logo. This is the force restart, in the event of a crash. You keep holding it, and then, I don't know if you're supposed to let go. Oh, there it is. I've force restarted the phone. Gotta wipe it off. I can't stand fingerprints on my phone. When they invent a non-fingerprint smudging technology, then I'll be impressed. Sorry this video's gone on for so long, but some of the people like watching me and like hearing what I have to say, so sorry they had to watch this video for so long. But I just wanted to be thorough and give you the full user experience. I mean, I've probably watched 10 hours of Apple videos on the iPhone 10 already. Bang, bang, swipe up. Oh, the first time you turn on your phone, you always have to put in your code. So that's just standard procedure. I don't know, do I hate the thing? I don't hate it. It's just trying to get used to it. It's a little bit different than it was. Oh, look, I have mail. You just have to get used to it. One of the things I really wanted to talk about was the wireless charging. I would recommend not wireless charging unless you're doing what I'm doing. The only reason I'm stuck with this case is because I want to use this wireless charger in my car, this particular one. That's the only reason I'm doing it. That's it. Otherwise, what I normally do, and what I may end up doing with this thing as well, once they become available, is I always used a battery case. The battery case is really the deal. It's a case that is a battery. The whole back of the case is a battery, and it charges your phone, and I would, rather than actually the way I did it was I would buy several of the cases. And then rather than actually charging the phone, I just charged the case. And then I just changed the case every day. I'd keep a case charged. The great thing about this is I throw an extra case in my car. Let's say I actually did burn up all my battery. I just grabbed another case, plugged it in. You never saw me walking around tethered into plugged into stuff. I didn't worry about being plugged in. You know, maybe when I went to sleep at night, I'd plug it in. But I see these people running around with the cord. Can I plug this in? Do you have a place I can plug in? You know, and I see them at coffee shops. They're tied to this cord. You can buy a battery case for as little as like 20, 30 bucks on eBay. All right. Like I said, I bought this case for $2. I think the battery case that I ordered one just to try it out. I got something in my eye. It's been driving me crazy. The case that I bought was like $18. Where's my... I have chronic dry eye. Where's my eyedropper? What do I do with that thing? I have a dry eye condition. Here it is. If you ever get this, it's going to suck. I don't know if this just happened because of age or because of my diabetes, you know. But I developed a thing, and it's probably from staring at goddamn phones, iPads, and computers my whole life. I developed this condition in my eye called, I think it's called coronal erosion or something. But basically, my eyelid sticks to my eyeball and pulls off little micro layers of skin. So when I go to bed at night, I now have to wear contact lenses. Special moisturized contact lenses that are made for one day that I put in my eyes, that I sleep in. And then when I wake up, I peel them out and throw them away. Is that screwed up or what? If I don't do that, when I wake up, I have so much pain in my eyes. It's like having someone stick a cigarette in my eye. So all day long, I have to use little eye drops to keep. And this is because of a lifetime of staring at little screens, basically. It's also the reason I now have to wear these distance glasses because I can see up to like 3 feet pretty clearly. I can see my phone perfectly clearly. Thank goodness. But now I need those to see. I was a cameraman for many years, which is why my name is Videobob. And I'd have a camera on my shoulder, and in this right eye, I would have a viewfinder. Right? Big news cameraman. This right eye is jacked up. This is the eye that gives me the problems. And I suspect it was all those years of running a camera. So for any of you, and I also have tons of shoulder problems on this right side. Imagine that. So anybody out there that's a professional cameraman, of course cameras are different now. Now people have this like the DSLR kind of camera mounted to a little thing. But back in the olden days, we had a camera, you know, I had a beta cam on my shoulder. It was like 30 pounds, and it sucked. Anyway, enough about me. That's why I'm Videobob. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me for almost an hour talking about the iPhone 10 and the iPhone whatever. I'm sorry that this video wasn't as ranty and as funny as some of my other ones go, but I decided to do this video for the people who really give a shit about, you know, my opinion, I guess. And hopefully I gave you some good information about the thing and gave you a little bit of a real user experience. If you're somebody who makes a lot of money and you can afford $1,500 on a phone and the accessories is no big deal to you, go out and get it. You're going to stay ahead of the trends. You're going to, you know, you're going to be familiar with what's up. You know, there's a lot of people out there that have these Android arguments, and I'm not going to argue that the Android phones aren't better than they've ever been. I don't use an Android, but the reason I use an Apple is because I am a person who has Apple products. If you have the iPad, if you have the iPhone, if you have the iMac, if you have the Apple TV, if you have the MacBook platform, if you are a Mac user, it's really cool having the integration of iCloud and iTunes. I find myself, like for instance, I really like iTunes now. I didn't used to, but I really do. After you purchase an album or a TV show or a movie, you own it for life and it exists in the cloud. And with the new storage systems, you don't really need to have it on the phone. Just have a link to it. I have unlimited internet. So I don't need to have all 5,000 of my records on the phone. I just, when I want to listen to it, I click the little cloud and within 10 seconds, it's there. Because I have this LTE high-speed internet, unlimited. Now, by the way, this is a Verizon phone. Now, I found myself, this is just me. because I can afford to do this. I like to go to the Apple store and buy an Apple unlocked phone and pay cash for it. Done. No contract, no bullshit. Now, beware of certain retailers out there, like Best Buy. When you buy a phone from Best Buy, they have what's called a universal phone. But it's not actually unlocked. If you put in, the minute you put in a SIM card, it locks itself to that carrier forever. With the exception of Verizon. Because Verizon does not marry any of their LTE phones to their network. So if you put in a Verizon prepaid card into a Best Buy phone, it still remains unlocked. But if you put a T-Mobile or a Cricket or something into that phone, it will marry itself to that network forever. But if you buy a raw phone from Apple, phone with no SIM card, it's an unlocked phone. Why is that important? Because when I go to sell my phone, I'm going to get maximum value for it. It's an unmarried, unlocked phone that's as good as new. Here's another thing I do, just between you and me. As soon as I get my phone, I take it out of the box. I don't touch the accessories. I don't use the charger. I don't use the cord. I don't use the headphones. I don't touch any of that stuff. I put it all back in the plastic bag. I put it on the shelf. Because I know 1 year later, next Christmas, I'm going to be getting a new iPhone. I do every year. And you got to think, I'm handling this phone every waking minute of my life. It's never more than 3 feet away from me. Okay? I've always got it with me. I'm using it for a full year. It's my most personal item. I have it with me more than my own underwear. Right? Think about it. You always have your phone with you. You take it into the bathroom. You take it into the kitchen when you're making breakfast. It's next to you when you sleep. It's in your car. It's always with you for a full year. That's a lot of handling. But I never use the phone without a case. And I always put a screen protector on the screen. When I take that phone after a year out of its case and clean it with a little Windex and put it back in the box, you can't tell that it was ever used. I guess that's one of the great things about using glass. It's not going to scratch. This phone is going to look exactly like the day I took it out of the box 1 year from now. What's great about that is I'll be able to sell that phone for maximum value. So my iPhone 7 Plus that I bought for $1,000 sold that phone for $600. So that means I only paid half price for this phone. If you were to trade that phone in, they're only going to give you like $200 for it. Don't be stupid. So one of the great things about keeping up with the trends is that you get to sell your old phone for maximum value, giving you the maximum trade-in value. So really, I only paid $600 for this phone. Really, by recycling my other phone and selling it. If I had bought a contracted phone through Verizon, I'd be locked to that phone for 2 years. My payoff would have been more than I could have sold it for. The get a free new iPhone every year trick, if you look at the math, you are paying double for a phone. If you look at how much they're charging you. So really, the cheapest way to have an iPhone is to just buy it for cash. Think about it, folks. If you can afford to do it, just go walk into an Apple store or order it online, buy an unlocked, unmarried, brand new iPhone for cash. No contract. Don't buy it through a retailer. When you buy through Best Buy or whoever else, they're gonna put their finger in that pie. You buy it from Apple, straight up phone. Okay? That's my advice for buying and selling the phones. And then you're gonna basically get your new phone every year for half price. Because if you quickly sell yours fast enough before the price drops, the people out there who have last year's iPhone 6 would love to have an iPhone 7 Plus for $600 for the maximum, and it's in perfect condition in the original box with all the original accessories. Looks like it's never been touched. I keep the little Apple bag and everything. But it looks like the day I walked out of the store with it. And I even shrink wrap it. Okay? So that's my suggestion on how to buy and sell a phone. You'll find yourself, so really, I'm like, I only spent $600 on an iPhone 10. Oh, wow. What a great deal. So, that's some advice. What's some other advice that I have for you? Same thing with the accessories. I'm going to save this little box and everything. So 1 year from now, from this video, this case, this phone, this will all be back in the box, right? And it'll go right back. Anyway, Thanks for hanging out with me for a whole goddamn hour. I'm Videobob. I do these kind of reviews. This is probably the longest one I think I've ever done in the history of this channel. I've got like, I don't know, 9,000 or 10,000 subscribers, and I've got millions of viewers. You know, for those of you who don't know who I am, I had a television show on the Reels channel called Screen Machines. I'm a custom car builder. You've seen me on Pawn Stars, Auction Kings, Dateline ABC. I'm on TV all the time. I'm on radio. I was a comedian. I've hosted a bunch of TV shows in the past. I used to produce NWA Wrestling back in the 2000s. I've done a lot of stuff, so you've probably seen me before. And I just have a passion for electronics and gadgets. And I love just talking to people like I'm doing now. So if you enjoyed this video, even if you skip through most of it, please subscribe. And for all the other YouTubers out there who have this strict platform of making a 3-minute video, where a third of that is your fucking graphics and your intro, you know, maybe you can learn something from this. All right. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I'm Videobob, and this is the iPhone 10.